I want to talk about something that took me a really long time to see about myself. And I'm only able to talk about it now because my life fell apart and I had no choice but to sit with it. I was someone who felt everything deeply, fought hard for what I believed, and still kept ending up in the same place, drained, dismissed, wondering why nothing was changing. And the answer was uncomfortable. So let's get into it. I want to start by being honest about where I was before any of this clicked for me. Because I think a lot of people watching this are going to recognize themselves in this. I was someone who said yes when I meant no, not because I didn't know what I wanted, I always knew, but because I was terrified of disappointing people, of being too much, of rocking the boat, and losing something that I was barely holding on to anyway. And at the same time, I was doing that. I was shrinking, accommodating, showing up for people who were not showing up for me. I also had this anger in me that would come out at the worst moments. Someone would cross a line, and then I would go from zero to completely unraveling, loud, reactive, saying things in a way that gave everyone else the out that they needed. My father used to tell me, I didn't want to hear it, by the way, at the time. He'd say, you have every right to your feelings. But the moment that you open your mouth and lose control, you flip the situation on yourself. Your behavior becomes the story, not what they did, not what was said to you. He was right. And I hated that he was right. The thing that actually changed absolutely everything for me wasn't actually a book or a podcast or a breakthrough conversation. It was my life falling apart. Things collapsed in a way that I was not prepared for. And when that happens, when the noise and the busyness and the distractions are gone, you're just left with yourself, your decisions, your patterns, the through line in every situation that you keep ending up in. And I had to ask myself the question that I had been running from for years. Why do I keep ending up here? It's not a fun question to sit with because the honest answer implicates you. And it's so much easier to look outward at who hurt you, who let you down, who didn't show up. And yeah, some of that is real. But I had to also look at my own role in things, the ways that I had handed people the tools to use against me, the ways that my own reactions had been making things worse for years. So I just started watching myself, honestly and forensically, almost trying to understand my own patterns without immediately defending them. That process, that quiet, forced, sometimes brutal process of just sitting with yourself, that's probably where things started to shift. 2 days ago, something happened that showed me the work is actually starting to surface. I expressed how I felt about a situation in a very calmly manner and directly. And the other person immediately went on the defensive, saying that I'm being passive aggressive and that I always do this. And I felt it, that pull, that familiar heat in my chest. The old version of me would have taken the bait immediately. I would have matched their energy, and suddenly the whole thing would have become out. and about how I react instead of what I actually said. But guess what? I didn't. I stayed calm. I said what I meant without shrinking and without fighting. And the steadier I stayed, the less they had to work with. And by the end of the conversation, I had said everything I needed to say, and they had nothing to come back with. And what hit me even more than that moment was what came after it, the clarity. Because when you stop reacting, you start seeing. And I started seeing things that I couldn't see when I was always in the middle of the fire. How some of the people closest to me, they already have an arsenal ready. The moment that I begin to express myself, there are tactics waiting. Old things brought back up, words chosen specifically to flip it back on me, to get me back into the version of myself that's easier to manage. I don't think everyone does this on purpose or consciously, but it's there. And I know now, at least because I finally got to see enough of it. Here's what I've learned. Anger feels like power. It feels like finally saying the thing, finally standing up, finally being heard. But if it's uncontrolled, it's actually the opposite of power. It's handing over control. It's giving people the exit that they need from accountability. The real power is staying in your body, staying calm, saying exactly what you mean without giving anyone anything to deflect onto. I'm not all the way there. I still have moments where the old patterns show up, but now I catch them, and catching it and noticing it before you act on it, that's not a small thing. That's actually where all the work lives. You cannot save yourself while you're still the one burning the house down. The falling apart was the most painful thing that I have been through, but it was also the thing that finally made me stop and look at myself, and I would not trade that for anything. If any of this resonated with you, if you recognize yourself somewhere in this, I just want you to know that the awareness is the beginning. You don't have to have it figured out yet. You just have to be willing to look at it. I'm going to keep talking about this stuff here, the real things, the uncomfortable things, the things that actually do matter. And if that's something that you want more of, subscribe. And if this hit home for you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. I'll see you in the next one. You know where to find me.